When we talk about graphing on the rectangular coordinate system, as in this lesson in 18a, we're usually talking about either lines or points. So we are looking at linear equations, and they're drawn as straight lines. But in order to get a straight line, you really need 2 points first. And each point could be represented on the line by a coordinate that we call the x and the y coordinates. They're called ordered pairs, actually. So the x value is always written first, and the y value second. We've already looked at this rectangular coordinate system, and we know that the y-axis is the line that goes straight up and down, and the x-axis is the line that goes across or horizontally. Now, every other intersection that we can find on this thing, every place that we see a crossing of those 2 lines would be a point. We could represent it as a point. For example, let's take the point 3, 4, which has already been graphed for you. How did we find it? Well, the x value is the 3, and the y value is the 4. So it's really like saying x comma y. We start from 0, 0, which is right in the middle of our coordinate system, our rectangular coordinate system, and we count over in a positive x direction 3. So we would go 1, 2, and 3, and we'd end up right about here. And now we're going to go up because y is also positive, so we'll go in a y direction, which would be either up or down. We're going to go in a positive y direction. We'll go up 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there's our point. You can see it's already been graphed for us on this lesson, and it is point 3, 4. Now let's try a few more. If I were to graph the point negative 1, 5 that you've been given to graph here, negative 1, 5, I need an x and a y. I'm going to put x and y in case you're still having trouble with that. I start from the same place. I start at the center of the x and y axis, and I'm going to go in a negative direction this time for my x value. I'm going to go over a negative 1. I'll end up right here on my graph. Now I'm going to go in a positive y direction, positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right here is 5. I'm going to put my point, and I'm also going to label it because it's a good idea to label what your point is. This is negative 1, 5 when you're drawing these graphs. Let's do the second point, negative 2, negative 3. Now remember, the first value is x, the second is y. I'm going to start at the center again, once again at point 0, 0. That's what the center point is. And I'm going to go in a negative x direction, negative 2 spaces. So I would go over 2 spaces to the left. Now I'm going to go in a y direction, a negative 3 spaces. That would send me down 1, 2, 3 spaces from where I was. Remember, I was already over a negative 2 on the x. Now I'm down a negative 3, and this is my point, negative 2, negative 3. Remember, x value, y value. It's always written like that. And for the last point we're going to graph, it's a positive 2, negative 4. You should be getting good at this. You're starting in the center at 0, 0. X direction, we're going to go positive 2. So we go to the right, 2 spaces. Now from that point where we are, we're going to go in a y direction, which would be up or down. This time we go down, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's my point. I can label it 2, negative 4. Now, something you should know about the rectangular coordinate system is that the 2 axes, the y and the x-axis, when they cross, they divide this graph into 4 what we call quadrants. We label the first one, they're labeled with Roman numerals, quadrant 1. It's over here, and it's to the right of the y-axis, and it's above the x-axis. This is my first quadrant. I'll just sort of put some lines here to shade it and show you what I'm talking about. You know, every point in quadrant 1 is unique. They'll always have a positive x value and a positive y value. Check it out and see if you can find a point in that quadrant that does not have positive x and positive y. We're going to kind of go counterclockwise as we talk about them. Counterclockwise takes us to the next quadrant, quadrant 2. And you can see that everything in quadrant 2 would have, for its x value, it'd have to be negative. But its y value is still going to be positive because it is above the x-axis. That's quadrant 2. Now let's look, keep going counterclockwise. We'll go to quadrant 3. Now this one, still, I would have negative for x, but this time I'm below the x-axis. In other words, I'm down here where I'm going to have a negative value for y2. Every point in quadrant 3 is going to be negative, negative. Negative x value, negative y value. And finally, quadrant 4, you should be able to tell me what quadrant 4 are going to be, the signs of their values are going to be, or the coordinates are going to be. Of course, x is going to be positive, and y will be negative.